Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And Dominic Carter here with you this morning. We have a lot to get to. We are hearing from the family of Renee Good, the Minneapolis woman fatally shot by ICE when her car accelerated towards an agent and then veered right. Her brothers testifying on Capitol Hill that they are in deep distress. New York's new inexperienced mayor, only 34 years old with no executive experience, has stepped in it yet again. This as Mamdani has been accused of paying more attention to his clothing instead of New Yorkers freezing to death. And this comes after the New York Times ran this great story hyping up his winter fashion. The MTA in New York, surprise, surprise, nets $62 million more than expected with the unpopular, crazy, ridiculous congestion pricing plan. It's nothing more than a money grab. You know it, I know it. Grammy winner Billie Eilish, that is, continues to be under fire for her, quote, "No one is illegal on stolen land." The singer proclaimed this at the Grammys. You can't make this up. Turns out her $14 million LA mansion sits on land historically owned by indigenous people. And another socialist has been selected to replace Mamdani in the New York State Assembly, his old seat. So no matter what city or state you're listening to the program from right now, what do you do when a socialist is running for mayor or, let's say, governor? And one of their wacky ideas is to basically have social workers respond to emergency calls with mentally ill, distressed people. It sounds great. It may look wonderful on paper. But what happens when the situation goes left, and it goes left very, very fast? When the mentally ill person could get distressed and does something very, very bad. And so the candidate with these wacky ideas goes on to win. And his policy is already being seriously tested, raising major red flags. And right now it's happening here in New York City with Mamdani. Mamdani is pushing for his Department of Community Safety. And this comes after the NYPD just recently was forced to shoot a young mentally ill man. Now, the man is okay. He's in the hospital. And this happened in Queens, New York. A schizophrenic 22-year-old who officers say grabbed a knife. And at that point, they were forced to shoot him, waving the knife. Now, what would have happened if there were only social workers there or an NYPD officer was en route to back up the social worker and the distressed man had pulled out the knife? This is Mamdani's New York. I'm going to come right back to that, but I'm starting with the fact of Billie Eilish, the 24-year-old singer. She won a Grammy, Best Song, and she declared no one is illegal on stolen land. Well, this is why the Hollywood crowd should shut up. Excuse me, young lady, you're going back to your $14 million gated mansion in L.A., and it turns out Indians, the Indian American community, if you will, a tribe, historically owns the land that the House is on. So literally, this is blown up in her face. And Senator Ted Cruz at a hearing that had executives from Netflix and Warner Brothers together, Warner Brothers Discovery, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas asked this wonderful question.
Are we right now on stolen land?
I have no idea the history of this land, where we're sitting today.
Nor do I, Senator.
So that speaks volumes that neither of you are willing to say, hell no, we're not on stolen land. And I will say at the Grammys, when you see an entertainer say, nobody is illegal while we're on stolen land, and then you see entertainers leap to their feet clapping so excitedly at the notion that America is fundamentally illegitimate, it starts to convey that the entertainment world is deeply corrupt. And I will point out that same singer who says no one is illegal on stolen land promptly went back to her $14 million mansion, and somehow that stolen land she wasn't concerned about, just the United States of America.
So, young lady, why don't you give up your mansion? Let us all live in your mansion since you have those beliefs. Oh, you're a phony. It was just for TV, for the show. You can't make this up. So, Mayor Mamdani of New York City has stepped in it yet again. And this time it's very, very, very serious. The last time, just days ago, 16 people died out in the cold. Now, Mamdani has been pushing his vague emphasis on vague Department of Community Safety, right? And that basically means, part of it entails having police respond to less calls and send out essentially social workers, right? Sounds wonderful on paper. But this just happened the other day. A schizophrenic 22-year-old young man, this happened January 26th, the NYPD forced to shoot him after he allegedly waved a knife at police. Right? So he wants a mental health professional. What would that mental health professional have done if the NYPD was not there? So now, not only did police have to shoot this young man, the mayor says he believes that the young man should not face criminal charges. And the mayor stating that after viewing police body cam footage, it's clear to him that what the young man needs is mental health treatment, not criminal prosecution from a district attorney. Sounds just like a socialist. Just like a socialist. And so the young man's family has criticized the police, stating that they called 911 asking for help because the young man was throwing glass against the wall at their home in Queens. So the family stating we called 911 for an ambulance to provide medical attention for our son who was in emotional distress. So what was a social worker going to do in that situation? The family going on to say, we did not call the police, right? The part that offends me about this, Mamdani actually visited this young man and his family in the hospital. What about these police officers with the trauma and the stress that they had to fire and wound this young man? And you're visiting him and his parents? This dude is in La La Land, the mayor. And boy, did he get it at City Hall.
Can I get a clarification about something, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah. So let's make it really quick and then we do have to go.
I really need to have a clarification about this. I know that you talk about the fact that the police can respond in these instances if there's a weapon. But in this case, there wasn't a knowledge that there would be a weapon. There was, the charges were that he was breaking glass. And at the last minute when the cops came in, he pulled a knife out in the kitchen. So how do you determine when the police can arrive if the initial call doesn't say he's got a gun, he's got a knife? What do you do? And then if it turns violent, if a person's there without the ability to stop him, what happens?
So I think there's a few things to say here. One is a lot of this is exactly the focus of the conversations that we're having internally in developing out this Department of Community Safety. Additionally, I want to make clear that a person experiencing a mental health episode does not always have to be served first or exclusively by a police officer. It is important for us to have all of the options available, and that's exactly what we're looking at.
So in other words, the mayor of New York City had nothing to say in response to this. Did you hear the word salad? He borrowed a page right out of Kamala's script, stating absolutely nothing. So, Mayor Mamdani, what's going to happen? These situations can go left very, very fast. So you have a social worker there in a hypothetical situation, and, okay, the person's throwing glass up against the wall, schizophrenic. And then the person goes and gets a knife. What's that social worker going to do, Mr. Mayor? That actually happened in this case, according to police. And they had to shoot this young man. He's going to live, it appears. And what does the mayor of New York City do? He goes and visit the young man at the hospital? Now, maybe he visited the officers, but what happened is under scrutiny. What about the trauma that the officers faced, that they had to use force to stop this young man? Mamdani is an absolute disaster. What is it going to take to realize Governor Hochul, I know it's an election year. I know you don't want to get involved. This guy has to go. You can't run New York City or a major city like it's an experiment. You just can't do it. And on top of it, the socialists, they've won again. So Mamdani had to give up his assembly seat to become mayor. And a 38-year-old Democratic socialist will take over his seat. Diana Moreno, a community organizer and devout member of the Socialist Association, won 74% of the vote tonight in a special election, one of 3 in New York City. Let's go to your telephone calls. Let's go to Christine, line 2, Manhattan. Christine, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind is bravo to you. Talking about social workers, they're trying to put, the Democrats for years have been trying to push nurses out, registered nurses, and replace them with social workers who are cheap. But they have absolutely no medical training in any of the 5 aspects of medicine: psychiatry, medicine, surgery. They can't give meds. They've always been screaming about giving meds. They're trying to push their way in. They don't have the registration, the license, or the skills to do it. And they keep giving the public the impression that they do. By making these comments, bring in the police, bring in the social workers. They don't know their backside from their elbow.
Christine, I wish. If you want to hold on, I've got to do another short segment. If you want to hold on, I'll come back to you. But I've got to take a break. This is a very, very serious topic. Mamdani is in way over his head. It could cost you your life. That's all of us listening. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And I am looking at my Twitter, at my X, at Dominic TV, regarding the 16 people that died out in the homeless, out in the cold, under this new mayor, Mayor Mamdani. Cassandra Van Poel says, and not a peep about the 16 dead. She capitalizes the word dead from Mr. 7%. She's referencing the third candidate in the race for mayor who's always been such a vocal advocate for the homeless. Yes, he was. And then Cassandra goes on to say, your suspicion seems awfully possible now.
Mr. 7%.
Yes, I don't mention that candidate's name, but this is why we have Mamdani, because it was all about this candidate's ego. He was never going to win. He never had a chance from day one, and he blew it for all of us. And now that he's ruined the city by giving us this socialist mayor, peep, he doesn't have anything to say, nor his wife. And there's a million things that can be said about her, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to go low the way he has. Okay? I'm going to leave that alone. But we're dealing with this mess because of this candidate and his ego. He should have never been in the race. He was the Republican nominee, and he was never, ever, ever going to win. And he kept trying to plant lines to me to say to give him cover. You want to tell the whole story? Let's tell the whole story. You tried to hoodwink the public, and you tried to get me to be in compliance with you, trying to give me the literal lines, literally the exact lines of what to tell you people to con you about his campaign. Christine, I was just talking to you in Manhattan. It's got to be quick because I have a lot of calls. Please continue with your point.
Yeah, my point is they're giving the impression that the police and the social workers have skills to deal with mental health. They don't. They're not qualified. They're not trained. The police are very critical in this because they can withdraw. They can.
Okay, but Christine, wait. We have to be realistic now. Even a nurse, if somebody starts waving a knife, you got to have a cop. A nurse can't do a darn thing if somebody's waving a knife. Will you concede that?
I agree with you.
Okay.
Let me finish what I'm trying to say.
No, Christine, you're going on way too long. I have too many calls.
I'm saying that the cops are needed to subdue, physically hold the patient down while the nurse medicates him.
Right. Thank you for the call, Christine. Let's go here. Let's go to William on line 3 in New Jersey. William, what's on your mind?
Dominic, thanks for taking my call. Hey, real quick, I am just so disgusted with these limousine liberals getting up at the Grammys and saying, that we're living on stolen land and all this crap. These people living in castles and they fly in lear jets and eat caviar and go to these tropical vacations and look at me. They're horrific and their music sucks out loud, Dominic. I will never give them a listen. And then the audacity of them to charge the imbeciles that are paying $400 to $1,000 for a ticket and cheering them on while they, spew their political diatribes. They're disgusting. I'm disgusted. I'm completely lost, Dominic, and I'm so glad that I turned that television off.
So, quickly, what do you think of Billie Eilish? What she had to say?
I thought that was horrific, and I thought that everybody that supports her should turn their back on her because she made her money here in the United States.
Good advice. Thank you so much for the call, William. I've got to take a break, and we are coming right back to more of your telephone calls. We have a lot more to get to.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
So, 16 people, 16, die out in the cold just recently under Mayor Mamdani. 16. No laughing matter. He's concerned about his new jacket, how stylish it looks. But can you blame him? He's only 34 years old, right? Then you have his Department of Community Safety, more than $1 billion he's pumping into. He told us that the budget gap is some $12 billion. He's spending billions here, there. Here's $1 billion for you. There's $1 billion, just like Oprah, $1 billion for you. But the insulting part is he wants social workers, basically, to respond to certain 911 calls. Just the other day, the NYPD had to shoot a 22-year-old young man, schizophrenic. The call went out by the family to 911 that he's throwing glass up against the wall. Well, with all due respect to the family, if the young man's throwing glass up against the wall and he's schizophrenic, just like my mother was, except my mother was a chronic paranoid schizophrenic, who's going to stop him from throwing the glass? Not EMS, not the social workers. Who's going to stop him? Who's going to calm him down? Obviously, mommy can't do it because you found the need to call 911. It has to be the NYPD. No matter what city you're in, it has to be law enforcement. Just tragically, in this case, the young man picks up a knife, apparently, and the police were forced to shoot him. And the mayor runs to the hospital to visit the young man and the young man's family. Something's terribly wrong with this script. And so what is the mayor busy doing his time with? Oh, he loves his social media. In this case, reaching out to the Haitian American community.
To Haitian New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. If you have temporary protected status, you've been forced to live in limbo for the last year, unsure whether this country would allow you to stay and build your lives with dignity. Temporary protected status for Haitians was set to end today, February 3rd. Last night, a federal judge temporarily blocked that termination while the case moves forward. But let's be clear, the federal government will appeal, and this temporary protection is not permanent. You deserve stability and safety, and New York City stands with you. Right now, we urge you to speak with an immigration lawyer and explore every possible legal pathway you may qualify for, whether asylum, adjustment of status, or any other path to permanent residency. New York City offers free, trusted immigration legal support with services in over 200 languages. You can call directly by calling this number. City Hall stands with you.
What's the right word? Words. This dude is nuts, and he's the mayor. He's the mayor. He's the mayor. We're going to get to the brothers of Renee Good testifying on Capitol Hill, but let's take one or two more of your telephone calls. Let's go to line 2. Sherman in Manhattan. Good morning, Sherman. What's on your mind?
Good morning to you two. Outstanding show. I refer to this Mr. Curtis as the guy in the red beret now to add a little more insult to him. You know, it was so absurd that this guy thought he can win. But yes, of course, I believe his wife was gassing him up. You know, I heard this guy, it's a fact, on the air one time, Curtis, saying that he did not know his own wife's age. How can a man be in a relationship with someone and don't know her age and expect people to take him seriously in a race? This is a fact that I heard him say that on the air. And I want to go further. You know, Mayor Mamdani, he's a slick guy. I believe, it's my opinion, that he might have spoken to Curtis and told Curtis, give me some time, I can get you in there, I can get you something. Curtis is an egomaniac, okay? He's an egomaniac. And I really think that his wife really hypnotized him and made him think that he had a chance to win. When guys get old and they get that age and they got a woman 20 years younger than them or whatever the difference is, you know, they really get under a spell of a woman. And I think that he really allowed himself, he knows he's older now, he allowed himself to be under the spell of this woman who came out of nowhere, you know. And like I said, he never had a chance. And if his wife is so intelligent, how can an intelligent woman allow her husband to F his life up like that?
Well, Sherman, you gave me a mouthful there. All I can tell you is that it's tragic in terms of what happened with that candidate, but it's more tragic that we're stuck with the results of that. That candidate knew he couldn't win because I told him directly to his face, stop wasting my time. I cannot endorse you publicly because you can't win. And it was at that point that he started giving me, he wants to talk garbage, so let's put it all out there. He started literally giving me lies that he wanted me to say to you folks on the radio to indicate that he could win. Straight up con man. It's as simple as that. And it's a shame. It's an utter shame that he wasted a 30-year career in broadcasting all down the drain. You had the president of the United States telling him, don't do this, get out. Oh, no, you're not going to listen. You had the owner of this network tell him, get out, please. He could have been the king of New York. He could have got everything he wanted and been seen as the hero if he had just dropped out of the race, but his ego wouldn't let him. And we're to blame because every 4 years we got on this bandwagon that he could win. Sherman, and I'm going to close on this note, you had a better chance of being elected mayor of New York City than that third candidate did. All he did was split the opposition vote. He's got the nuts that back him. Oh, no, he still, Mamdani still would have won. No, he wouldn't have. You don't know what you're talking about. And so what does this person do? He runs up to Yale University and all these places doing all of these marginal things now because he's completely irrelevant in the process. Sherman, thank you for the great call. Before I get to the brothers of Renee Good testifying, the woman that was fatally shot in Minneapolis, testifying on Capitol Hill, let's go to Anthony, line 1 in Pittsburgh. Anthony, what's on your mind?
Hey, that was a good episode with Peter King talking about the Super Bowl this afternoon. And I haven't watched in probably 10 or 12 years. There were like two things that turned me off. One was when Johnny Unitas died and some of the quarterbacks wanted to wear black high tops in his honor, and the Stalinists at the league said "Niet." And the second one was the Rams were still in St. Louis at the time when the Michael Brown incident occurred. They were on Monday Night Football, and during player introductions, what did they do? The Rams players came running out with their hands up. I don't want to see that nonsense at football games.
Okay, so what are you going to do with the Super Bowl?
Well, I won't watch. I haven't watched. I've only been to watched one Super Bowl, and that's because the neighbor had a party. Well, I wasn't.
Okay, so you weren't going to watch anyway. I got a lot of calls, Anthony. So you weren't going to watch anyway.
Nope.
Okay, and so what do you think of the halftime show? Bad Bunny.
Not interested in clowns that dress like women. Other than Boy George, because he was the original.
He was the original. Fair enough, Anthony. Thank you for the great call. And by the way, there's an online petition. It's not going to change, but an online petition. It has 200,000 signatures for the NFL to dump Bad Bunny. Now, he's a world star. He's got it going on. But all of this transgender, I don't even know if we call it transgender. Guys, help me out. Tony and Blaze, do we call this transgender, the fact that he puts on a dress? What do we call? Do we call it great marketing? What do we call this here?
Well, it was cross dressers that weren't
right,
trans.
So he's a cross dresser.
I suppose. I mean, now they're saying as you could wear a dress as a man. I mean, I'm not about to put a dress on.
I'm with Matt. I'm not about to put a dress on either, and I think it's a cross-dresser myself. But
wait, do you hear how all three of us are kind of stuttering here?
Hey, man, I'm not doing it.
But out of the three of us, who's worn a dress?
I have.
Touche.
Proudly in college, I did it. But so did Mayor Giuliani. I did it the way Giuliani did it,
Is there a picture of you in your dress in college?
There is a picture.
I'd like to see that one day.
Can we put that up somewhere?
Put it on your X account, man. Come on.
I was a cutie, man. But I wasn't trying to impact children. I mean, okay, maybe Bad Bunny would say he's not trying to impact children. What do you guys say?
I had, to be honest with you, I don't know nothing about Bad Bunny. I know about all the controversy since he booked to perform this Sunday at the halftime show for the Super Bowl, but I know nothing about him, so I can't answer that question.
So Blaze, you don't have a problem with him wearing a dress if he does put on a dress at the Super Bowl?
If he wears a dress, Dominic, my life isn't going to change one bit.
Right, but what about the 8-year-old boys that will be watching him?
And they're already watching him. They're not going to see anything that they haven't already seen. We like to remember when we were kids, Dominic. As a kid, you know what's going on. Adults like to think that kids don't know what's going on, but kids know what's going on. And I think they know the difference between right and wrong. I think they know if they want to wear a dress or they don't want to wear a dress. And this is the world that we're now living in.
Where I got to watch a performer perform in Spanish and I can't understand the word he's saying. And he may wear a dress. Hey, guys, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's get to Renee Good's brothers testifying on Capitol Hill. The voice you're about to hear right now, this is one of her brothers, Luke. And he says that, as you might imagine, that their lives have been changed forever.
My name is Luke Ganger, and I'm here with my brother, Brent. Renee Good is our sister. We're here on behalf of Nay's big family and those who loved her. We're here to ask for your help. I was talking to my 4-year-old last week when she noticed I was not doing well. I had to come here today and talk to some important people. She knows that her aunt died and that somebody caused it to happen. She told me that there are no bad people and that everyone makes mistakes. She has Nay's spirit. The deep distress our family feels because of Nay's loss is in such a violent and unnecessary way is complicated by feelings of disbelief, distress, and desperation for change. In the last few weeks, our family took some consolation, thinking that perhaps Nay's death would bring about change in our country, and it has not. The completely surreal scenes taking place on the streets of Minneapolis are beyond explanation. This is not just a bad day or a rough week or isolated incidents. These encounters with federal agents are changing the community and changing many lives, including ours, forever. And I still don't know how to explain to my 4-year-old what these agents are doing when we pass by.
And so I do feel his pain. But, brothers, maybe you should have been there for your sister more, and she wouldn't have been doing something as reckless as she did with those federal agents. I'm looking at my Twitter at my ex, the lovely DMS. You know, we just conferenced, talked about me, Blaze, and Tony about man wearing a dress, Bad Bunny. DMS asked the correct question. The question never asked of men who wear dresses, what do you wear underneath? I can only tell you, DMS, I had on men's underwear. The only time I didn't have on men's underwear is when I was in college, and I thought it was a great idea to pose nude for this female art class, and I did, and I walked out in a robe, and everything was great until I looked at the women that were painting me nude, and they were all pretty, and at that point, I had a little problem, an embarrassing problem. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
Now, this audio may be traumatic for some of you to hear, so I'm warning you now. But we have the audio of the young man that picked up the knife, the paranoid schizophrenic 22-year-old. The police had to shoot him. Now, remember, they not just got to protect their lives. They've got to protect his mother's life. Anybody that's near this 22-year-old man. And the mayor wants social workers to respond to calls like this. So I want you to listen to this. In the video, you see the young man in the kitchen, and this situation goes tragically bad.
Baba, no! Hey, put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Move! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down!
And it's cut before you hear the audio of the NYPD officers firing. And again, the young man is alive. It's a good thing that he's alive. But I'm not going to lie to you. I have a problem with the mayor going to visit him in the hospital. This is nothing more than a socialist agenda. Yes, he needs help. But go visit the officers. You hear them saying, move, move, move. They're telling the mother to get out of the way, because she's only inches away from this young man with a knife. The mother is trying to calm him down, as a mother would do. But, Mom, it's out of your control now. It's an NYPD matter. This is exactly why you have to have police officers in this situation. I want you to listen to this one more time and pay close attention to the audio. Okay, so we don't have it queued up as of yet, but let me go to Lauren, line 1 in New Jersey. Lauren, what's on your mind?
Yeah, maybe the mayor needs to go out on a call like that to see how frenetic and deadly a situation like that is.
Exactly, Lauren.
You know all too well what's involved, because it is that kind of mental illness. It is tragic. It's you need to have specialized training, and even then, you many times are at a loss.
And I'm telling you, Lauren, I want to give you to say, when I was a little boy, I remember when my mother would have these episodes, she was strong as an ox.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And she might say to me, there are ants on the wall. And because I had said, Mommy, there are no ants on the wall, she would viciously attack me in one of her episodes. Yeah. And with the strength of an ox. Go right ahead, Lauren.
Yeah, well, you and others who have gone through and go through the situations like that, you have to give yourself a tremendous amount of credit, Dominic, that you got through it and you are who you are. So I'm wondering when Bruce Springsteen, Mr. BS, is going to write a song about the 16 individuals who froze to death on the streets of New York.
That's a great question. Question.
And why didn't the mayor go visit the families of those individuals that he let freeze on the streets of New York?
Right, while he's wearing his custom jacket for the cameras. Lauren, you just raised some excellent points there. Thank you very much for the call. The little time that we have left, I want you to hear this one more time. This actually happened just a few days ago. The police had to shoot this young man.
Baba, no! Hey, put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Move! Put the knife down! Put the knife down! Put the knife down!
And at that point, they were forced to fire. A very, very serious situation. I'll have more on this 3 p.m. Eastern. And I've also got beef with these two guys here, because these two guys, and the break we had, they were giving me all types of agita and drama over me modeling nude as a college student. All right, we're going to continue this, you two. See you folks at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.